Hello, everybody. Welcome to Side-Eye in the City, episode 16. Yes, I had to look at the notes to figure that out. Sorry. It's been a day. That's all I can say. I'm your host, Tamika. Hello. I have with me Miss Sunny
Hello.
and Miss Chris.
Yeah, right.
Hey. So how you ladies doing?
Good. Good week so far.
Good, good. That's always good to hear. How about you, Chris?
Interesting.
Okay. About the same here.
Interesting.
um, I am trying a new lippy though. This is my new MAC, the butter ones that me and Chris talked about. I've been hunting them for a year. But this is the butter gloss in, I don't remember the color. I'm sorry. I think it's double food cake or something like that.
Are those the NYX ones?
Yes, the NYX butter
Okay.
gloss. And this is the intense gloss, and I think the color is like devil's food cake or something like that. But it's kind of like a purple, like a deep purple. So
Very pretty.
I like it. Thank you guys. Thank you.
I'm always nervous about dark colors. I don't know why I got big lips.
Yeah, I was too, but I tried a purple. I think you were with me last spring. I tried a purple at oh, what's that place?
Makeup Forever.
Yeah, Makeup Forever. And loved it. Didn't get it. And then I just ran across this color, and it's pretty similar. So
Very
I
cute.
think I'm liking it so far. So thank you guys. So let's jump right in. Why don't we start on a couple of high notes because there has been some notable side-eye this week, which we'll get to. But first, I think I'm gonna start out with Sunny's topic, and that is the prom queen. So why don't you take the lead on that one, Sunny?
Okay. So I'm sure we've been seeing this particular picture float around, and I want to pull up that article because I want to make sure I give the young lady her props because Mama did that.
Yes.
So the young lady, from what I've gathered, she went to prom and didn't wear the typical standard attire of the glitzy glamour gown. She decided to wear something with African colors and patterns and something that had culture behind it. And her name, she's an 18-year-old. Her name is Kaima.
Mm-hmm.
I hope I'm saying her name right because I want to make sure I pay the respect. But what I love about her is she is socially aware of how beauty is seen, and she decided to rock something that was more connected to who she is as a Black woman. And her Twitter stat says, when European ideals and standards of beauty mean absolutely nothing.
Yes.
I just have to say we need more of young ladies being that proud of who they are in their own skin and not caring what society standards of, well, European society standards represent. So kudos to this young lady, but also I even found a little power in what she did because I'm not gonna lie to you, I struggle. You see, I got the straight and silky, and I'm not born with that. So I'm so proud to see a young lady do that. And this weekend, I was out and about, and I went to this event, and there was this other young lady there, and she rocked would you say, an African print? She had an African print dress.
Okay.
And she had it made for $50, and she was spreading the love, telling everybody, go to this woman. She has prints and fabrics, and it was so beautiful to see that women now were embracing, our ancestry and rocking it with style. So it just warms my heart to see that. So, and I just want to say that we're just stepping away from those European ideas. I'm still going to rock this silk and smoothie every blue in the moon, but it's good to see when young people are accepting themselves and for who they are.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, I agree. I saw her when she first was, spread all around social media, and immediately it was like, oh my goodness, this is beautiful. She looked so nice. She wasn't too exposed, but still very elegant.
Yeah.
And I believe did she design it herself from what I heard?
I
Yeah,
believe
she
she
designed it
did.
herself, and she had somebody else sew it. Yeah,
Right. That's what I
or
heard.
construct it, I should say.
That just sounds wonderful. The thought of making your own prom dress and it's still having an Afrocentric feel. That's just beautiful. So yeah.
And she also became prom queen. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw her. Well, I'd seen her, over the past couple of weeks or so. I think the past week maybe. And then I saw her this morning on Melissa Harris Perry's show, and she was talking about like her inspiration behind the dress, and she was talking about because she posted a status on Instagram saying, for all of the bullying and for all the times I was called ugly. And so she was on Melissa Harris Perry, and Melissa Harris Perry was like, "Okay, come on, you're gorgeous. Whoever called this girl ugly?" And she was saying she was actually talking about Black women in general, and the general shade that women of color get, being held up to European beauty standards.
Oh wow.
So she was saying that that's what her statement was about, is because typically mainstream society tends to write off women of color as ugly or unattractive or less than or always angry.
Yeah.
So she was sort of like directly taking that on with her dress. So kudos to her.
Better. That makes me even happier. Like
I
that's
know, right? And she was saying that she graduated and she's actually headed to Parsons School of Design, which if you watch, what is that show, Project Runway?
Yes.
That's the school that Tim Gunn teachers out of. He's like the creative director. It's if you're into fashion and if you want to be a fashion designer, that's where you want to go. And so that's where she's going. So I can't wait until she's selling her designs. Right now she's selling her art and like some of her drawings on Instagram and on Etsy and like I guess some designs of other things. I don't think she's selling her clothes just yet, but she's selling like some other things that she's designed and some of her art. And that's on Etsy and Instagram. If you search her name, you should be able to find her. But yeah, I was so proud, and I can't wait until she's selling her stuff, and I'm gonna buy it even if I can't afford it or fit it, like whatever. I'll just buy it and hang it up and look at it.
In the city, we'll contribute something. We'll contribute.
Yeah, but she's so talented, and that dress was gorgeous. I know that some people were kind of giving her a little bit of grief, saying that it was too low cut or it was too much.
Tell her.
But somebody always has to say something, always, right. Especially if it's a young woman of color. Somebody always has to sexualize her in some way. So, right. Don't listen to them. Don't listen to the haters. That dress was gorgeous. That dress was gorgeous, and she looked absolutely amazing. So, kudos to her. Very, very proud of her. Yeah. All right, so let's just roll on. Page. I'm on the low. Let me get rid of that. Okay, so I posted a link in our chat room about the youngest African American female pilot to fly cross country, and she's 15 years old. So that was sort of my "you go, girl," or I don't know what we call this segment, but good job this week. I guess we have two of them this week. So, her name is Kimberly, and I apologize. I'm probably going to butcher this. Kimberly Anyadike. I think that's how that's pronounced.
All right.
Let's go with that. And if I say it wrong, I'm really sorry, Kimberly. But she flew cross country. This past week, she's only 15 years old, and she did it by herself.
Wow.
So I know, right? Like I could barely, pilot my car into the driveway at 15 by myself. So
that's wonderful.
Isn't that cool? And if I could get the story load, I could tell you. Okay, so she was inspired by the Tuskegee Airmen. Okay. How awesome is that? And she flew a single-engine Cessna from Compton, California to Newport News, Virginia. Wow. And it took her, it took her 13 days. Woo. Yeah. So, pray. So, just
I commend her parents.
I was just thinking the same thing.
No, who mama and daddy gonna let their kids do that? That's awesome.
Right?
My 11-year-old walked around the block to his friend's house to spend the night on Friday, and I'm like, you call me as soon as you get there.
Yeah.
And that's
So
around
long
the
catch a
block.
flight.
Literally, I mean, on the other side of the block. That's it. Like, can I text you? No.
So yeah, this is actually an old story that I just kind of came across, but that's what was inspiring and worth sharing. So,
Yes. You know, because we're
congrats
not
to
seeing
her.
that. We're seeing all the negativity about African Americans. So we need something to uplift.
Yes.
Right.
Wonderful.
Right. So yay to her. Oops, lost you guys. Hold on. Oh, there you are. All right. So you guys want to talk about old Side-Eye or new Side-Eye?
Oh wow, I don't even know.
Well, just a couple of updates on McKinney, or really, well, one update on McKinney and one update sort of tangential to McKinney.
Okay.
So, for anybody who's been living under a rock or maybe in a pool for the past week, when I right, when I say McKinney, I'm talking about the incident that happened in McKinney, Texas last week, whereby Paul Blart rolled up on a pool party and just started beating the hell out of black kids for no reason. He like there was a lot of uproar and a surprising number of people saying that he didn't do anything wrong. I don't know what the hell that's about, honestly. But he's the cop that you have on video that's really brutalizing the young woman, also I think 14 or 15 years old, in a bikini, and he's like twisting her arm and trying to force her into the ground, and he sits on her, and then when some of her friends step up to help her, he chases them off with a gun, and all the other cops are just standing around watching him do that. So that's what I mean when I say McKinney. So he resigned this week. I don't know how I feel about that.
Neither.
I wish he was fired because technically at this point he still officially has a clean record. And I don't think he should be able to get off without that consequence at the very least
and
of having a black mark on his record. Right. Regardless of, they're still investigating. Don't know what's left to investigate, but they're still investigating and deciding if he's actually going to be criminally charged. So there hasn't been, a decision on that. He gave a statement saying that his reason for, acting completely crazy was that he was emotionally, I guess, stressed or taxed from. He had some I think it was two suicide calls earlier in the day, and so he's trying to say that he was sort of emotionally taxed from that, which is bullshit.
Were these children trying to kill themselves or no?
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. If he was that stressed or overwhelmed, then he shouldn't have taken the call.
Go home.
Period. Like it's really that simple. And he's a professional. Like right. I thought that's why cops are supposedly the best of the best, and we supposedly recruit these men because they have a hard job that's stressful, that's high stress. So if he can't deal with the stress of his job,
or have enough sense to know when you've gone past your limit. Exactly.
He could have easily told the dispatcher, send somebody else. I can't handle it right now. Just that simple, and this never would have happened. So, but that was his official reasoning for, barrel rolling onto the scene like Paul Blart and, commencing to chase and beat black children. So, what do y'all think? Thoughts? Hello?
Hello? I'm sorry. Like I said, it's just it's unfortunate because that he's not going to be held any more responsible as it relates to this with resigning and this claim of stress. Perhaps the families can sue them on a civil level, however, but he's no longer an employee there, so that kind of changes what can be done. Personally, I expect to this to be another Zimmerman case. I wouldn't be surprised if we see him doing something else crazy in the next couple of years.
I'm certain he'll be a cop again somewhere. I'm absolutely certain about that. Which is, I think, the biggest injustice of it all is that because he technically has a clean record right now. So, and if anything happens, I'm fairly certain that he will be given a badge and a gun again. I would bet on it. And probably in Texas, not too far from there.
Hell, he'll be in Dallas police force before we know
it. Right.
But Dallas police force sounds like they had a rough week.
Yeah.
Lost their life out there at the police station. I mean, I'll be honest. I saw it, but I don't know enough about it because it happened yesterday, didn't it?
It happened overnight on Saturday. And I don't really know too much detail about it either. Basically, some guy, white guy, because sorry about that. I guess that was a little petty. That was a little petty, but he was white.
I'm just saying.
Just kind of...
He killed the cop.
Lost it. Yeah, lost it and attacked the police station, the main police station in Dallas. Left 2 explosive devices outside police headquarters. Got an armored car. I don't know where he got an armored car, but somehow he had like an armored assault vehicle tank thingy. Yeah. And he was like, there was like a chase, and then there was a standoff at a Jack in the Box 10 miles away. And then I guess at some point he was shot, and crazy. And all this happened overnight. I want to say it started at like 2 or 3 a.m. Saturday morning or Friday night, I guess however you conceive of that in your mind. But it's overnight Saturday, so it was all over by the time we got up Saturday morning.
Yeah, it was.
Wow.
And Fox didn't want to show that, they took some pieces of that on the Fox.
Right.
Page. I'm like, interesting.
Now the initial stories I saw, he was alive and well, but then I want to say I saw something where he was shot and killed.
There were several people.
Oh, okay.
From what I gathered, there was like several cops that were injured. I could be wrong. Like I said, there's been very little put out there. This hadn't been thrown out there. And one, I believe, was killed, and maybe another was shot. But there were some that were saying that they escaped. Barely escaped getting hit by whatever gun he had out there. So I think he had some heavy heat.
Oh, he did. And like that was part of, because the parts that I heard, like apparently during the standoff they were like negotiating with them, which struck me as odd, as you all are negotiating with armed people in an armored car.
But
you roll up on a bunch of kids like fucking Rambo.
Black people just get shot.
Right, exactly. I'm like, y'all rolled up on a bunch of kids like Rambo, and just started taking jokers down. So, interesting. But yeah, so I've been saying all week that I believe the zombie apocalypse is imminent because the world has gone completely crazy, and especially here in Texas. I don't know what's going on. Maybe something's in the water. I have a huge mark on my forehead. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
The zombies got me. No, just kidding. No, but it's been going crazy. So I think the zombie apocalypse is near, and I might be on the side of the zombies. I'm just saying.
Well, the zombies, it sure in the hell is Black Twitter. So shout out to Black Twitter. Salute. Get them all together. We'll start with Tracy, who works for Bank of America. They put her on blast on Black Twitter. Sean Toon, they put out his whole arrest record.
Yeah.
So anybody involved in the McKinney Police Department issue, Black Twitter has come for you like the beehive. So
they're not.
Oh, well, let's talk a little bit more about McKinney. There's something else happened, kind of tangentially to that I know. I want to share with you all.
Talking about.
Do you know where I'm going?
The brown gentleman who we have ejected from being black.
Oh
no, actually no, that's not what I'm talking about. But what's that about? Well, I get the story.
Well, there was a gentleman who supposedly lives in McKinney, and was completely he did an interview, I want to say, with CNN or someone like that.
Ah, yeah, that dude. Okay.
Yes, basically saying that, this was completely justified. The police had every right to come in and attack those kids because they didn't belong there. I mean, it was just like, were you paid by the,
Yeah.
the let's not stand in unity with Black people Society of America? Because it just didn't make any sense. It was kind of like, where did y'all even get him from?
Right.
What?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember the dude's name, but I actually wrote about him on Facebook earlier this week. But yeah, he basically said that, the police weren't at fault, that all of this was because 7 black kids jumped the fence at the party. And there was a woman that made a video saying basically the same thing, a black woman, both of whom have been thoroughly roasted, and rightly so.
Right.
But basically just blaming the children, the kids who were, getting attacked. And this is funny. The woman, oh God, I should probably Google her. But the woman who made the video basically saying the same stupid mess, turns out, and she was like, her whole point was, it's the kid's fault and the kid's parents' fault because they need to teach them to respect authority. And, when the police say something, they need to teach their kids to do it. This was her central thesis. And she uploaded this whole video ranting, saying this. Turns out, and I just love this. Oh, I love it. So much justice. Her son was wanted by the cops in Louisiana. And they had to hunt this joker down. He did not turn himself in.
Really?
So, if it's those kids' parents' fault, then it's her black ass fault that the police had to come and find her son because he did not turn himself in, and he was wanted for assault and battery on a woman at an apartment complex.
Good night.
Yes, justice. Justice. I love it.
The gentleman in question, his name is Bennett Embry.
Yep, that's him. And he has like a radio station or something, like a local radio station.
Right, something like that. And again, I just it's hard for me to understand. Everyone saying that, kids jumping the fence is what set this off. Because, as much as that's complete and total garbage, if that was what happened, if children jumping the fence to get to a pool should bring about physical assault, then is it Jim Crow, or I don't understand.
Right. Well, here's the thing about that. Number one, if that's true, if there are children jumping the fence, that's an HOA issue.
Exactly.
And there is security in that community, so that should have been the first stop. Now, if the security guard couldn't, put a stop to it or whatever, and why 7 kids going over a fence is, such a huge deal is beyond me. But if the security guard couldn't get it under control, okay, sure, call the police. But the police rolled in there on 10.
But what wasn't in control of jumping the fence? Again, that's what I'm saying. That,
Exactly.
Them jumping a fence. Okay, if they shouldn't have jumped the fence, perhaps they should have went around. Okay, I'm pretty sure that's not a cardinal sin. I'm pretty sure that that's nothing to be beaten, flogged for, or anything like that. So it's like, if that's the basis for your argument, you still sound like a crazy person.
Exactly. And frankly, that level of violence, like there is, I don't care if what was it, Kid Fury said, if they each took individual poops in the pool. Like, I don't care. It did not warrant that level of response, regardless, police or not. Like, that was insane. It's indefensible. Like, I feel like people are reaching and trying to justify the indefensible.
Just because they don't want to admit that it is what it was.
Exactly.
Until it's your children, then it can't be that. Exactly,
yeah. So, yeah. So side-eye to all of McKinney and that, fake-ass radio host and that woman ranting on YouTube. Side-eye to all you people. Now, okay, this is a good one. This just makes me laugh. But again, happy ending. Okay, so there's a teacher named, Karen Fitzgibbons. I want to make sure I get this helper's name right. Karen Fitzgibbons. She's a teacher, a 4th grade teacher in Friendship, Texas.
Okay.
And she posted on Facebook about the McKinney incident also.
Oh, yeah.
And in a nutshell, she was not happy that the police officer, Eric Keithbolt, resigned. She thought that he was justified and right in his actions. And now I'm going to read you what she said because I really can't do it justice. So, okay. So, this is what she posted. This makes me angry. Angry all caps. This officer should not have to resign. I'm going to just go ahead and say it. Now you know some bullshit is about to ensue when anybody says, I'm going to just go ahead and say it.
Right.
Okay. The blacks are the ones causing the problems and this racial tension.
Oh.
Racial tension in scare quotes. I guess that's what happens when you flunk out of school and have no education.
Oh.
This is a teacher. This is a teacher saying this shit.
Yeah.
Okay? But there's more. Just keep your ears open. There's more. It gets better. Okay. I'm sure their parents are just as guilty for not knowing what their kids were doing or knew it and didn't care. I'm almost to the point of wanting them all segregated on one side of town so they can hurt each other and leave the innocent people alone. Maybe the 50s and the 60s were really onto something. Now let the bashing of my true and honest opinion begin. And then a bunch of hashtags. I'm not racist. I'm sick of them causing trouble.
No.
It was a gated community. Those are her hashtags.
Wow.
Now, of course, people roasted her.
Wow.
Because
I'm not
this
racist.
bitch called for segregation.
Yeah.
But she's not racist.
And them. And
Right.
I hope her grandbabies turn out biracial.
Wow.
So, you want to guess what happened to this heifer?
Fired.
Fired. Oh, yes, this
They
heifer
should
got
be.
fired. So incredibly.
There's a
fired.
principal in Florida who got fired for the same thing. My thing is, if you're supposed to be in education, you should not be stereotyping, or even if you feel it, don't put it as a public statement that you do not like minorities, because at the end of the day, your students are going to be minorities. And I hope her grandbabies turn out biracial, point blank.
I do too.
And dark grandbabies.
You don't have to be minorities.
I hope the blackest family in America moves right next door to her ass. I swear to God.
No, I hope her beautiful genetic pool with some little black babies. That's what I want. That's the ultimate payback. It's crazy, though, that people still think that. Well, it's not crazy that they think that way. It's crazy that they're bold enough to say it without there being any form of consequence.
Right, exactly. And I mean, this one, she's an educator. She's a teacher.
Exactly.
Talking about how these people are uneducated. How do you know that?
Because
And then literally calling for segregation.
Because
Maybe
we're
the
all
50s and 60s were onto something.
Because
Really?
we're all uneducated. Because we're all, like she said, our parents don't care enough, to know what we're doing or paying attention. That's what she's saying. All black people, the blacks, all the blacks, and they need to leave us alone.
She needs to. I have 2 universities. She needs to tell that I'm uneducated, and perhaps I won't owe these student loans.
Man.
Exactly.
Oh my
Let's
goodness.
clear that. Yeah, I'm with you.
It's
Yeah,
just
so she got fired, even though she deleted it. Like, people, came for her,
Yeah.
rightfully so. And she deleted it pretty shortly. But, of course, there's that wonderful screen grab.
Yes.
So, of course, she issued an apology, non-apology,
Why would
saying
you
that
want
she
that?
apologized to, let me get her verbiage, to the people it matters to, or something like that, which basically means I ain't apologizing to nobody. I meant that shit.
Right.
And she was fired.
Mhm.
So, yeah.
Again.
Yeah, so good riddance to her.
And,
Hope you don't get unemployment. Yeah.
and may she have beautiful brown grandbabies.
And black neighbors who swim in the pool every day. Yep.
I hope she has, just the most strong in their African, here black neighbors,
Yes.
just
For no reason.
We should all buy Kaya's dress and just walk around her neighborhood just to freak her out.
Yes.
Like, oh my God, there's Africans! Ah!
So, what's crazy though? I did watch video footage of people who were in McKinney. videotaping them protesting.
Yeah.
And it's so crazy when you see Caucasians and African Americans, and when you see black people videotaping, it's very strong and powerful. When you see the Caucasians taping, they're very confused, like, what's going on? I don't understand. Why are they doing this? So it's so funny to see both sides, and they're in the same place at the same time, and everybody's damn confused. And then the reality of it is, they need to feel what it's like. If you don't, how should I put this? When you live in these neighborhoods, they do not separate you from reality of life. You're going to have minority neighbors. They need to be realistic. There are people who are in better tax brackets than most of the people that live in those neighborhoods who are white. Black people are making money. Hispanic people are making money. Asians are making money. Everybody needs to be respected, and they have to learn that. And we all too grown to not have that respect for one another.
Well, I mean, picking up off of what you said, like this city in particular, it was named last year by, I want to say like Time magazine or one of the financial magazines. I think it was Time, the money section. But it was named the #1 country to live in, or the #1 community in the country to live in in 2014. But the city actually has a history of actual segregation. It's something like, I've heard two different quotes. I've heard that it's 70% Caucasian, and I've heard that it's 84% Caucasian. Whatever number you want to go with, African Americans are in the minority in the community itself in general, and then many. I'm sorry.
I said I would say that would be Dallas in general.
Probably, I'm sure it is. Yeah, that sounds about right, actually. And then, like, there's some geographical segregation going on there, too.
Yeah.
And that came up on Melissa Harris Perry when she was talking about, because, like, they came up saying, like, go back to your Section 8 housing. And apparently the history behind that is that at first the community didn't have, like, wasn't allowing any low-income housing at all. Like, just it wasn't allowed to be built there. And then they were sued, and in 2009 they settled and allowed affordable housing, I guess Section 8 housing, to be built within the city, but it's all segregated to I might get this wrong, but I believe it's the east side of the city, and then the west side is it has no public housing, I'm sorry, I'm saying public housing, Section 8 housing.
So according to white people, that must be the only place that the black people could be.
Exactly. Of course, she was dead ass wrong. Yes, the kids that she was attacking lived in there. So even if some of them were from the quote unquote wrong side of town, the majority of them were from that community, and the rest of them were from the surrounding community on that side of town.
And they were invited.
So she was wrong. Right.
They were invited. So it doesn't matter.
Exactly. So even if they were from, the poor part of town or whatever, they were invited. So yeah. So it's interesting. It's got a very interesting and divided history, which makes me wonder and I've wondered this a while actually, when cities make these kind of lists of, best place to live, or best place for single people to live, or best place for families to live, who are they talking about?
Not us, honey.
Exactly. And I think that's what we see.
They're not asking us. It has nothing to do with us.
Yeah, and that was her point exactly. She was like, when they say this, what do they mean? Who's it best for? And yes, you're absolutely right. It's not us.
And I'll be honest with you, living close to that area, I never felt the racism in general. I felt it more in Dallas than I did in the outskirts. And I think it's because the black people I did know that lived in Frisco, McKinney, and Plano, in those areas, I guess I never really felt it. But when I would go in Dallas, I felt it. So I don't know. Now that this is all happening, it's weird to me. And then it's really weird because, like, my cousin, she went to school, and you know how they break off easily, so one side of the toll could be another city and then another city. So she went to a school in McKinney, technically. I mean, it was like Frisco, McKinney. So it's just like, it blows my mind that these things are happening now. I don't know. It's just crazy.
I worked in McKinney. I actually, interestingly enough, worked for a company that manages the HOA for that community, for that exact community.
Mhm.
Um, Interesting.
Very.
Let's just say I believe the children. The woman that says that a white woman came up to her and told her to go back to Section 8 and slapped her. I believe
That's
her.
crazy.
But I worked. I don't know that I felt. There's certainly a sort of an elitist attitude, I would say,
Okay.
that I felt there. Um, I never connected it to racism, but there's
I
certainly
would
just
say
a
class.
not friendly. Maybe that's not the right word, but there's an air there that I never really liked. I'll just put it that way.
Yeah.
I never felt. It never seemed like a community where I'd want to live. I'll put it like that. It's very pretty. It's very manicured. I'll give them that. And there's a lot of shopping and different activities and things in the area. But it wasn't somewhere where I would want to live or I
And
would
see,
want to
I
settle.
never saw it, like you said, as necessarily pinpointing it as racist, but I did
Hmm.
see it as classism. Like,
Yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe it
I
was
have,
elitism, classism. Yeah,
so I
yeah,
don't know. It's sad.
interesting.
It's sad,
Yeah, it
but
makes you wonder how the same place where children can be brutalized and people will go out of their way to defend it can be the number one place to live
it's called
in America.
America.
You know, it
Does
doesn't
not
really
seem like.
really make me wonder. And honestly, it kind of validates what I think the majority of the unfortunate majority of many people's opinion is. You know, I think it's a great reflection of reality. I think people are jaded into believing that racism isn't, as prominent as it is because it's not spoken of as much as it was in the 50s and the 60s. But I think it's a lot more in effect than any of us are really willing to admit. And I think because areas are so very class segregated and color segregated that we don't always have the type of interactions that happen in McKinney. And so we kind of think that, oh, it doesn't exist anymore. But I think that that's not the case. I just think that we haven't really been put in a lot of situations that highlight the things that are happening. But I think the things are still happening. They've been still happening. And, just because it's not happening daily, well, it is now, because it wasn't happening daily. I think that we
I
were,
think it always was. I just think we're
yeah,
hyper aware of it now.
I think that we were hoodwinked into believing that it wasn't like that anymore. And I think that that's where a lot of our African American or Black or whatever you want to call yourselves these days, I think they are so busy trying to defend it because they're like, no, 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 this isn't happening. It's not really racism and all of that. I think it's just been diluted because we think that it doesn't happen anymore. We've been told, oh, it's not like that anymore. Oh, and we have drank the Kool-Aid. We believe it. You know what I
We've
mean?
been hoodwinked, yeah, and bamboozled.
It's really very much apparent. There's no way in the world that miraculously, in 2015 and 2014, that all the cops turn racist. Like, no, it didn't happen.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? This is something that is a cultural thing for, law enforcement, for people in gated communities, and, all of these things. I mean, I remember Michigan is very segregated. So,
Mhm.
for those of
Mhm.
you who don't know, Michigan is very segregated, and not in a we hate black people kind of way. It just kind of is. Okay, it's not even something that we really talk about a lot. It's not something that I would say is at the forefront. I don't go very many places where I don't feel welcome, but I can definitely tell, some areas
Mhm.
are more populated and, you may get a few more looks like, oh, wow, hey, she's black. You may
Mhm.
see that
Mhm.
more in some areas. Not that anyone will treat you any differently. They can and they can't, but, it's there. But for me, I just feel like so many things have been floating around and have been happening, and because they're not happening to you, we don't take it as racism. We just kind of roll with
Yeah.
like, oh, that was an isolated incident, or that's just there. And I actually think it's probably it's everywhere.
Right.
Yeah.
But one of the guests on MHP this morning, he was talking about how class and race intersect.
Yes.
And he was saying, and he was white, a white civil rights activist, which we got
We'll get to that later.
Rights. Yeah, we'll talk more on that in a minute. But he's a white civil rights activist, and he was saying, I guess he grew up in a mostly African American community, but he went to schools that were mostly white, so he kind of got to see the difference between, how he basically got to see both worlds and how they interacted and how they didn't. And he was saying one of the things that he's kind of learned is that for white middle class people, the benefit for them, like the goal to get to middle class, is to avoid living around people of color.
Mm.
He's like, that's the goal. That's what middle class means to middle class white people often. He's like, it's unstated. It's not like anybody says, oh, I want to make enough money to not live around black people. He's like, but that's just that's the understood benefit of being white and middle class. And he's like, so I actually this is him saying, he had no doubt that woman said that, and that woman just assumed that, these black children are obviously, in Section 8 or in public housing because I'm upper middle class. She's worked at, a vendor for Bank of America, maybe making loan decisions. God, I hope not. But she's made it, quote unquote. She's in this more affluent, gated community with this private pool. She's made it. She's middle class. She's reached that status, and so that should come with no Negroes. And she's like, and they would see these children, just their mere presence as a threat, if not a physical threat, a threat to their white middle classness, or I should say, their middle classness.
Right.
It was an interesting viewpoint, something I never really thought of before, but it actually makes perfect sense, I think. Mm-hmm. It would certainly explain white flight, which happened where we grew up in Detroit,
right,
and how Detroit used to be more like New York or Chicago, right, at one point. And sort of by the time that we were kids coming up, pretty much all the white people had left. The tax base had eroded, and yada, yada, yada. I won't go into the whole history of Detroit, but basically, white flight decimated the city. Yeah. Not saying that white people carried Detroit, but it was one of those places where you could kind of see sort of race and class trends happening in real time and what it meant when people self-segregated. Yeah. Does that make sense? I feel like I kind of botched that a little bit. So that was an interesting kind of way of looking at it, I thought. But I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think he's onto something, or just all these people are just racist and should burn the community to the ground? I don't know. What do you guys think?
I definitely think he's onto something, especially as it relates to Michigan. In general, we, even with black people, we have a tendency to want to move away from other black people, as a semblance of making it, and it's unfortunate. We were discussing at work, a couple of my girlfriends, we were discussing how, I love black people. I love being around black people. There are always people who don't act appropriately, whether they're black or white, but I think that because of media and because of, TV and things that are perpetuated about black people, a lot of times all negative behaviors end up being associated with black people. So some of us have even drunk that Kool-Aid and so I got to go from the black folks, and it's not really bad, but I think self-segregation or people deciding to get away from a specific group of people, it's that just fuels the underlying racism.
Right, absolutely. Another thing I saw recently, this was actually around when Baltimore was happening, and they were talking, because there were all these think pieces on, how Baltimore got to be how it is, and why it's so segregated, and why, the crime and all that. And they were sort of going over the history of Baltimore. And they were talking about, redlining, and how that works, how, banks wouldn't loan to black people, and they would only loan to white people if they weren't near black neighborhoods, and blah, blah, blah. And how that was supported by the government, actually, the United States government. So they were talking about that, and then they were talking about how in many cities, like and Baltimore was one of them, their approach to sort of the ghetto problem, they were basically trying to drive out poor people.
Right.
Again, coincidentally or not, the poor people often were also black,
Right.
but also some immigrants as well. But the official onus was to drive out poor people, and so they started purposely. And Baltimore was one of these cities, cutting civil services like police, fire departments, etc., things like that in poor areas. And I think it was Baltimore, but don't quote me on it, but I think it was Baltimore. But in one of these cities, they specifically closed all of the fire departments, like all of them. They shut them down in the hopes that if there aren't city services, that the poor people will just move. Well, obviously that didn't work. Right. And that is why in a lot of the poorer areas, like, because they were kind of talking about, like, well, why hasn't these cities rebuilt? Detroit was on the list, one of them. Like, why do poor areas look poor specifically?
Right.
And why is, like, even when riots and things happen, why aren't they rebuilt, or why isn't there investment? And that's actually one of them, and that's a structural one that goes back 100 years to cities literally trying to drive out their poor people by denying the people in those neighborhoods city services, denying them police, denying them fire departments. And it's one of those historical things why that even to this day, getting police services in certain areas of certain cities is all but impossible because there are no police, period. Right. And I want to say it was Baltimore, because that just struck me as crazy that they literally closed the firehouses. So they were like, they didn't care if people burned and died. Like, what is that? That was crazy. And I feel like I'm misquoting it, but I believe it was Baltimore. But I'll check that, and if I'm wrong, I'll put it in the Google Plus comments. But that's crazy.
It's not a well thought out process. I mean, to be honest, talking about poor people generally don't have money to move, so
exactly. Exactly. Oh, I didn't say it was the soundest plan. Oh, right. I know. I know, but you're right. It's like, okay, so where do you expect them to go? But yeah, it's crazy. It's absolutely insane. So yeah, one of those ways in which racism sort of was built into the structure. And again, that's a history that's largely been erased. So most people don't even know that. So you have people talking on like blight in the cities, and blaming it on the people there, not knowing that those people were put in that position on purpose.
Right.
So, just and now that I've depressed everyone. So
knowledge is power.
I suppose. I guess.
Knowledge is power. I'm sticking with that.
So,
you want to jump on the crazy train?
Well, I want to share something with you guys, but before I do, I need you both to sit down, because if you're standing, you might faint and like knock yourself out, and then you'll sue me, and I don't have any money. So, if you're standing, just sit down. Just prepare yourself. You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. I am a white woman, and I'm coming out of the closet right now. I have been living my life as a woman of color for all this time, but I feel like now is the time for me to be honest. I am actually white.
Come out!
I'm coming out of the black closet right now, live.
What shall we call you?
No, how can we keep this secret from one another? We're so close.
I know, right? I had no idea.
Okay.
Okay, again, Twitter and hashtag Ask Rachel. Everything right now.
Wonderful.
How about,
oh my God, the memes.
Ask Rachel actually got me back on Twitter. And you all know I haven't been on Twitter in years. Okay, but Ask Rachel got me back on Twitter.
Now let me catch everybody up before we go in. Okay. Or, I'm sorry, before we analyze as white women.
Yes.
Okay. Anyway.
So what I'm referring to is there is a civil rights activist in Tacoma, Washington, um, president of the NAACP, professor of Africana Studies at, I believe it was Eastern Washington University. Let me close this about the racist teacher. Don't need that anymore.
Spokane NAACP?
Yes, Spokane chapter NAACP, chapter president. Again, longtime teacher of Africana Studies, graduate of Howard University, just very active civil rights activist, female, who is Caucasian but has been masquerading as black.
Keisha.
She was outed this week on Thursday by her parents, who were a bit sick of the okie doke and being disrespected and being told that they weren't her parents. So they outed her. She denied, and her name is Rachel. I'm probably saying her last name wrong, but whatever. I think it's Dolezal. Dolezal.
Mm-hmm.
Rachel Dolezal.
German.
German and Dutch descent. In other words, really, really white.
Really?
But basically, like, she's been, I don't know if she's spray tanning or, putting on a bunch of MAC NC50. I don't know, but basically putting on blackface and pretending to be African American and passing herself off as African American. So her parents outed her, and just in sort of the story unfolding, a lot of problematic things have come to light about this woman. Apparently, she has reported 8 separate incidences of hate crimes occurring against her that the police don't think actually occurred. She's a professor of Africana Studies, which, I mean, in itself, I took Africana Studies as an undergrad at Michigan State, which is a white university. I'm sorry, a predominantly white university.
Right.
And I had a white teacher, so that in itself isn't so,
outrageous.
out there, outrageous. And she was actually a really good teacher. But this woman teaches Africana Studies, again, billing herself as a woman of color.
Mm-hmm.
Which means, and this just blows my mind, she had to, at some point, at least have taught one lesson on blackface while wearing blackface.
Oh.
Indeed.
Just let that sink in for a moment.
So on top of insult.
So she kind of blew up on Twitter with people, a surprising number of people sort of caping for her, saying, well, she's down for the cause and she's been an activist. Is it really wrong?
Because I have a read for the cape, but okay.
Okay. So there's the cape, and then there are a lot of people that are like, the fuck? Oh, I'm sorry. What the hell? Like, really? This has really? She, for the most part, has pretty much said, F y'all, I am a black woman. Oh, okay. And so there's been sort of a general discussion as to what is blackness in 2015. Is it an identity that can be adopted? Is there a such thing as transracial? I'm gonna let y'all know right now.
No.
There isn't. But she's sort of trying to claim this transracial mantle. There's been a lot of comparisons to Caitlyn Jenner, again, which to me is just the worst kind of trolling, and trying to co-opt black women into this homophobic narrative that I will not even take part of. But there's been a lot of comparisons to that as well. So with that, I'm going to open it up to my fellow white ladies, and let's go. White ladies.
Well,
and then remember, we're white, so, we have to stay calm. Okay.
Oh, right. Okay.
We can't be acting like Negroes. No, we can't be angry.
Okay. You're right. Well, allow me to start off with what I think people are ignoring is the fact that, number one, she received scholarship money for being a black person. And, no one is taking away the work that she did for civil rights, whether you're black, white, or any other color. work towards civil rights is great. That's a good thing. But doing it deceptively as someone else, that's the problem. It's not, oh, you all should be happy that she did work. Nobody's saying that we shouldn't. But if I could change my race at the drop of a hat, perhaps I would do things differently. If you guys could just think about that for a second. If being a, black woman hurt me at one job but helped me at another, and I could switch it whenever I wanted to, I'm sure I could probably get a little further in this world if I could change it when I wanted to, and I think that is, again, doing black women a terrible disservice, because this isn't something that I can just take off. This isn't something that I think is cute and I'm going to, jump on this black girl train because it's just so much fun. I don't think that anyone's considering that. I also think that there are countless black women who could have received said scholarships, who could have done the work that she was doing had she not been there. I'm sure there are plenty of
like this one
that she was given as a black woman. That she,
sorry, I'm right. Never mind. Go ahead. I forgot.
But, I'm sure there are plenty of women, who could have been given, those opportunities, the opportunities that she's been given, and she's been being paid to come and do speaking engagements as a black woman again. So this is a deception. This isn't what it is. Say what it is. You have been playing a game and you got caught out on it. Now, you saying that you identify with black culture, that is your business. But being paid to be something that you're not, taking scholarship money to be something because you're saying you're something that you're not, all of those things are wrong, period. And it definitely is very telling of the fact that you have a deeper mental issue than just I identify with black people, because that's crazy. Now, as far as the cape goes, and for those of you who don't know, cape being saving somebody or Captain Save 'em, okay?
Right, putting on your Superman cape and flying to the rescue.
Right. I think, I knew it was going to happen, and I hate to be, because I'm white, I hate to be the one to say this, but it amazes me how only about half of of black men were upset about this. The other half were running to her rescue. It's really not that bad, and you all need to really chill out. You should be happy that she was fighting for you all as black women. Now, I believe that if this was a white man pretending to be black men would expect black women.
Oh, he would have caught a fade. Absolutely. But somebody would have seriously whooped his.
Of course, but they would be expecting us as black women to stand up for them and say, no, this isn't right, this isn't such and such, which is what we do. But when we need someone to stand up for us and say, hey, you know what, that's not the type of help that they need. As black women need, truth, not deception. But no, we get you all need to leave her alone. Y'all angry black women, y'all ain't never happy. And it was just so irritating, here comes the cape of foolishness.
It's infuriating. It really is.
For no reason. I mean, now, if she was ugly, I doubt very seriously that the cape would be as strong as it was. But I think because she's
well, she is. No, never mind. I won't be petty.
because she is portraying a fairer skinned black woman, with blue eyes and such. I think that also, made the cape a little bigger, okay, to wrap her up in, just that. Oh, well, we shouldn't, it shouldn't be that bad, and you all are kind of tripping. So, like I said, I just feel like being able to turn off your race is not an option for black women. So why should it be an option for this woman? And as far as Caitlyn Jenner did not say, you know what, I'm going to fight the good fight of transgender for years and years, and up and say, oh yeah, by the way, y'all, I don't really want to be transgender, I was just playing. Like that. This has nothing to do with that situation at all. He's been a dude his whole life. He's had children, he's raised children, he's done all of these things. He was a dude. That's how he was born. He decided to change. That's what he did. This Joker is white. You can't get unwhite. Okay, you're still white. There's nothing you can do about it.
Right.
You're
Well,
right.
here's the thing, like, because the whole comparisons to Caitlyn Jenner are, first of all, they're trolling. Just admit that. You know, if you don't like, if someone doesn't like Caitlyn Jenner because she changed her gender, then just say that. But don't try to co-opt women of color into this sort of weird homophobic sort of effort to take a swipe at Caitlyn Jenner. That's bullshit, and it's cowardice. It really is. Now, as far as like Caitlyn Jenner changing from a man to a woman, you know, that's Caitlyn's business, and I fully support her. I'm happy for her. I'm glad she's living in her truth. However, I will say for Caitlyn, and the difference between her and this heifer, she's not out there appointing herself the spokesperson of women all around. She's not out there selling her life story growing up as a little girl in America. She's not claiming that all of those children, all of the Jenner children, and the Kardashian children are her natural born children, freshly born out of her fresh new vajayjay. Like, she's not saying that. But this heifer is. She's out there getting paid to give speeches about her lived experience being discriminated against as a black woman and black girl in America.
That was very well fabricated in her mind.
Yes, completely fabricated. That is absolutely despicable. Despicable.
It is.
She's out there giving lectures about her 4C hair. And it's a wig.
It's a wig.
Really? She's posting
She's
selfies. She's posting natural selfies, talking about how she went natural. Really?
Yeah.
So she's just the lowest, the worst, most despicable kind of, I don't even know, I don't think there's a word for whatever she is. Now, as far as her, because this is another issue that comes up and why the cape is so strong, is because she's a civil rights activist. And she's trying to claim that she has this genuine, natural affinity for black culture. Like, she likes black people and respects black people so much that she feels like she is black. She feels black. Sort of like Caitlyn Jenner feels like Caitlyn is a woman. First of all, there is no such thing as a black feel.
Right. What is that?
Exactly. So are you saying that there are physiological differences between people of color and white people? Because that's Nazi shit and you're scaring me. That's crazy. So there's that. But here's the thing, and this is why I'm calling bullshit, because she has the credentials. She has the training. She has the background. She teaches Africana studies. So if any white person should know how racism works and the absolute despicable disgustingness of blackface, if any white person should know that, she should. And she put on a damn black costume.
Yep.
Like, I feel like we have this conversation every year around Halloween because some, entitled white person decides that, oh, it's super fun and let's just put on blackface and it's just fun and stop making everything about race.
We're a magical apple. Yes.
Right. Some white person puts on an afro and paints themselves black and goes in blackface, and then the whole world flips out. And you know what? I don't even get angry anymore because I figure they're just clueless, entitled white people, and they're everywhere. They're like, what's that movie with the little boys? Like, I see dead people. They're everywhere. They're like that. So I don't even react anymore. Exactly. She's not one of those people. She's not clueless. She knows the history of blackface. And she knows it probably better than most black people, frankly. So she knows why this is wrong. And she did it anyway. She did it for years. So I have no words for this heifer. I hope she gets fired. And so far, the NAACP has stood behind her. However, the membership is petitioning to get rid of her ass. I hope that they win.
Well,
go ahead, Sonny.
No, I was just going to say I find it to be insulting because what I find when you see other people from other cultures say they're taking on hip-hop culture, black culture, whatever that they associate black people with, the problem I have with that is they take the most negative side of us.
Exactly.
The most ghetto, disturbed, not the educated. I mean, she's projecting probably an educated woman because she's in NAACP, but how's her how does she speak to people? You know what I'm saying?
And that's I'm sorry to interrupt you, but that's another issue. Like, she's performing black woman, but she has a very specific, reductive definition of black womanhood. I mean, you have straight hair today. I have sort of pulled back hair today. Are we not black women because we don't have sister locks or natural 4C afro going on? Because clearly, by her standards, to be a black woman, you have to wear dashikis and an afro and natural hair and long sister locks. And, like, she's performing a very reductive definition of black woman. Yeah. And it makes me absolutely sick. So is Michelle Obama not a black woman because her hair is straight? Is she not black enough for this woman? And this woman has actually had the gall to tell some of her students, because, again, she teaches Africana studies. She has this activity in her class. And I'm sorry, Sonny, I just stepped on your segment. I'm going to throw it back to you in just a second. I'm sorry, I promise. You know, white people. You know white folks are entitled.
You caught that spirit. You take
You know how white folks are. You know. Okay, so this woman, in her class, she teaches this activity, I believe it's called the fishbowl, and where it's students of different races will come up and sit before the class and basically answer questions and talk on their lived experiences as a person of color or as a minority in America. And it's all different ethnicities: Latino, Asian, African American, whatever, just minorities. So one of her students wrote into BuzzFeed talking about, she's Latina, grew up in a Spanish-speaking country. Spanish is actually her first language. But apparently she's a fairer-skinned Latina. She wanted to participate in this activity. Do you know this Rachel woman would not let her participate? And her reason was she doesn't look Latina enough, so her experiences can't be authentic. I kid you not. I read this mess last night, and I almost threw my phone. Like, are you kidding me? You have this white woman in blackface telling an actual Latino person they're not Latino enough.
Wow.
Exactly. So I'm sorry, Sonny. Go ahead.
No, I'm glad you brought that
up. Back on. I'm Negro again. Okay,
because the reality of it is black women, we all have a struggle that every one of us has gone through. I don't care if you've gone through it as a child. I don't care if you've gone through it as an adult. And for someone to mock that experience is insulting, because we have to live in that every day. We don't get an opportunity to say, "Time out, girl.
Right.
I don't want to be black no more."
Right.
Because that happens. I can't go to work and say, "No, respect me as the white queen that I am."
Right. Give me the raise I really deserve. Yes.
Right. And that's just a reality. I mean, case in point, men do make more money in America over women. But that struggle for an African American woman is even tougher. And for her to be able to be financially gaining from this opportunity and experience is insulting. And I don't care if she's the president of NAACP, but what I do feel is the issue is the NAACP needs to learn how to stand for something and quit falling for everything. Because just because it sounds good and you're getting publicity, this is a negative piece of publicity for African Americans, because someone else on Facebook brought up something about how everybody who's in the NAACP who started, they were either white or they posed as white. But that was during a time where posing as white was a way to get out and a means to get out. So it makes more sense then. But now in this day,
I mean, it was at a point where to be black in the wrong space could literally get you killed.
Exactly.
So
wow. I mean, we said that in the days
where she had to become black.
Right, but she could have still been just as influential in the organization as Rachel, the white woman.
Yep. I argue that she could have been more influential because white people will listen to a white woman.
Agree.
Exactly.
So she could have been more influential.
I agree, but to mock an experienced one, because we all have a story. We all have dealt with some form of racism personally. And then to also financially gain, that's where I'm pissed at, because it's like there's so many African American women who are intellectuals who have not only been intellectually have had opportunity with education, but just experience as well. And to not be able to express themselves and be taken as serious as this woman is, and she has absolutely no credentials to tell me what it's like for me to be a black woman in America, that's insulting. And I'm glad her mama and daddy put her on Front Street.
Absolutely.
And I think the NAACP needs to be very, very involved in having her removed out of respect to what the NAACP should stand for.
Right.
You know, NAACP
I feel like the
should
damage
stand for.
ability standing by her. Like, I feel like it really further damaged and already damaged credibility.
I was going to say, yeah, they've already had issues in the past where they've just not stepped up to the plate. And I think this is one of those situations that they need to step up to the plate out of respect to women of color. We should say women of color.
Right.
I have one more point, ladies.
Go ahead.
This is something that I saw on Facebook and Instagram, and I was instantly infuriated by it, and I decided to put my angry thumbs away and not respond because I just couldn't, my words were going to be angry and they weren't going to be received properly. So there's been a lot of caping regarding this situation and black women wearing weave and dyeing our hair blonde or different colors. I believe I saw a meme that says, she's pretending to be black, but when y'all do it, it's okay. And in that picture, it was a picture of black women with, blonde hair, wigs or weaves or, whatever, basically saying we're pretending to be white. And I would just like to go on record of saying a hair color has nothing to do with my ethnicity at all. I could turn my hair turquoise. That does not make me a white woman. It doesn't make me a Brazilian woman. It doesn't make me anything but someone with dyed hair. And I think that the black men who posted this meme and made the meme should definitely really consider their own blackness, because if you're willing to persecute black women because we're putting color in our hair or because we're experimenting with our hair in a society that looks down on the natural hair that we actually grow out of our heads, you should really think about what you're saying about your mothers, about your aunts, about your family members who are black women. Wearing hair has nothing to do with pretending to be something that you're not. A wig is not going to make me white. I'm sorry. This brown melanin is going nowhere, baby. It doesn't matter what color hair I have on, period. And this woman could untan. She could stop getting this color. She could take that pinky curly wig off and go be white again. That's not something that we can do. And I think that, even making that comparison that we're pretending to be white, it's such a slap in the face. And it really only, like I said, makes me more angry that, so many of our black men don't come to our, rescue, if you will, or, they don't stand up for us. Why would you say that? Why would you put that even on your page as a black man, But again, like I said,
it's called ignorance.
It's so hurtful.
Right.
It's ignorance.
It really is.
It's ignorance and self-hatred. Black men have started to separate themselves from us, and we've had to become so strong and independent that it's hard for us to come together, even when it's something dealing with black people. Even if you look at the situations that's happening in Baltimore, Ferguson, black women have stood behind black men. The things that have happened in McKinney, there are a few black men standing behind this young girl. And
but not enough. And that is why that guy that did that interview can go to hell, to me. It's like, regardless of if you don't think this is racist or whatever, you saw a black girl get dragged, and you actually opened your mouth to defend it. Shame on you.
So that's why I feel like with anything else going on, I see why they defend it, because they don't even defend it when we need it the most. So for this kind of, BS, it's to be expected that there's going to be some of those, as you said, pull out the cape and help fly to get us to safety. But that means that we as women, black women, have to stand up and really protest this in the sense of being black feminists almost, of being disrespected. I think we have to make this a forefront. Like, it's funny now, but there needs to be some kind of consequences and actions for her taking money for this and also duping an organization.
Right.
And having them, protect her now. That they have to make this known that it's not acceptable. That almost leads into, okay, so now that they're doing this, you have Tom Hanks' son, who's very privileged, using the N-word. It goes hand in hand. It's like, when do we learn that when we allow other cultures to mock us,
And that's what it is.
It is, and it's just going to lead from generation to generation to generation, and we'll never get past this hump of racism because they will always mock us or depict us in such a negative stereotype that we're not going to be able to break it no matter what.
Right. Well, I mean, these people, these mockers, this, Chet Hayes or whatever the hell his name is, and this Rachel Dolezal.
White chocolate.
White something, but anyway. They say that it's because of their close connection to black culture, but it's like
you can still do that, but
you can be connected, but honestly, I feel like if you're performing blackness, your connection can't be anything but superficial. Because if you're really connected to black people, if you actually have a genuine black friend, somebody that is in your corner, somebody that you call when you need help, they call you when they need help or when they need to cry or when they need a hug. If you have a genuine black friend in your corner, they're going to tell you, don't do that. So that's how I'm like, I don't buy this whole I'm so connected to black culture. Because if you really had a black friend, you wouldn't be spouting off the word nigga. If you really had a black friend, an actual black friend, you wouldn't be walking around in blackface because you would realize, hey, that's hurtful to my friend.
Right.
Period. So, and this chick, it drives me insane that she actually had the gall to take all of the privilege that she was born with, all of her white privilege, hold on to it, and actually grab the little bit of privilege afforded women of color. I have no words for this woman. Oh my God, just go away, fall down and stay down. Just ugh.
And to lighten the mood, there's a funny joke I heard yesterday where they said to all of the friends of white friends of Rachel who thought they had that one black friend.
You don't.
I love it.
We just
I thought that was pretty funny.
We just took your talking back. Give it all back.
Damn, all those racists lost their black friend. That's
and they
so
lost
sad.
their black friend and all of this, isn't it?
They should pour out some libations.
Right.
White friends matter.
Yes.
I love it.
So I had to lighten it up with that one because I'm gonna tell you, at least the memes have been everything. But
the memes have been hilarious.
I've
been calling it Iggy Unchained.
Girl, and they said Iggy has had some negative things to say about black people. Now she got a black baby. Look at the irony. Mm-hmm. But the reality of it is, I think that yes, we can laugh at it now, but I think that we need to start protesting some other things, and that needs to be
I think it's a matter of literally laughing to keep from crying. Like, I think it's that. It is it's literally that. So, I can laugh at this woman and make fun of her, but it's like, God damn, really?
That's exactly like her pretend blackness is so ridiculous. I told my mom it's somewhere between absolutely hilarious and terribly saddening. You know what I'm saying?
She's a caricature. She's a walking caricature.
Yes. Who does it? Who does this? Let me pretend the whole other race. Who does this?
And how do you do that to your parents? Like, really? Right. She actually taking pictures with random black people saying, "This is my father."
Right. Did you see the post of the picture that she said this was her dad coming into town?
Yeah. And for that man to even support that shit.
Speak to her class as a guest speaker.
Yeah. You didn't hire the black man to be your daddy?
And the fact he played along with it makes him a fool.
Right? What the hell?
Who daddy is that?
And your parents
so many levels of cray. So many levels.
Parents are living. It's not like her parents are dead and nobody, we would never know. Like, no, they're on, like, Pearson. You know what I'm saying? Like, we can find them.
I'm glad.
Are you okay?
Did y'all see what
I'm so glad.
Al Sharpton tried to check the parents. I'm like, now you need to be the last one.
Trying to do what?
He tried to shame their parents. Yeah, he was like, "How dare you do that to your kid? How dare you let your kid?" His daughter. Look on your face.
And you see the situation.
The look on your face.
Girl, you already are one step out of being black. You see what I'm saying? Don't.
With the slick back.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Mercy,
so
God.
See, that's why I say the zombie apocalypse is imminent. And people are going crazy.
I'm gonna have to build my cellar in the basement like the mother crazy folks. This right here is a whole other group of crazy. I said, I don't know where do you even go? You know, just
Right.
like what?
Stock up on wine and just, barricade yourself in your house.
I'm telling you though, they give us a lot to talk about each week.
Yes.
Indeed.
Every
Never
week.
a dull moment.
Never. I told Tamika when I go back to work, if anybody says anything to me offensive, I'm going to say, as a white woman,
Okay. And
how dare you speak to me that way?
that way. Okay? I'll have your afro. Are you kidding me?
I am writing a letter right now.
I'm with y'all. Shoot. We're gonna go in there different. We're gonna be white women. I like it.
Yes, and I'm demanding a raise first thing on Monday.
Yes.
Before my tan sets in, because I got a feeling once I walk out the door, the sun might betray me, and I might become black again, and that's just no good. So yeah, I got to go first thing and just demand my white woman raise.
It's raining here. Maybe if I go outside to wash off.
Right. Oh no, I'm melting.
My tan is melting off. Oh hell. Oh.
Yeah, that girl. She's something else.
10 minutes past Game of Thrones, y'all. Okay.
Yes, we are. But they come on again, so it's okay. It's
Oh,
all good. Just stay on social media.
It's on DVR, no worries. Okay.
Yeah, I can start it too. So yes, with that, this half has actually made us miss 19 minutes of Game of Thrones. Damn it! Ah, there's another reason not to like her. Did you guys have anything you want to shout out, or any announcements, or anything coming up, anything new?
I would like for the summer to come to Michigan. I don't know what it's why it's vacating, but I need it here.
You can have some of Texas. You can have my part.
It was like 60 degrees last week. I had on the jackets. Okay.
Oh my God! Wow.
I'm jealous.
Just a little.
Right?
Summer.
Right?
Jealous.
Please, a little summer. Just a little.
Did you have anything, Sunny?
No, just everyone be blessed this week.
All right. Let's see. I wanted to give a quick plug of our book, which was Aisha Tyler. Oh, I guess I just outed myself as I haven't bought it yet.
Self-inflicted wounds.
Self-inflicted wounds by was that it? No. Okay. Self-inflicted wounds by Aisha Tyler. That's our book club selection for the next month, which we decided we were going to have it on the I'm loving it. The 12th. Yeah, July 12th.
I got you.
So that's our book, and that's all I've got. So I guess I'm going to go and take the pins out of my Rachel Dolezal voodoo doll and watch Game of Thrones.
Yeah. I'm going to take my natural wig off.
Right. Oh gosh. Well, you guys have a blessed and pleasant week. Bye, viewers or viewer, whoever you are. Hi and bye. All right, and I'll see you guys next week.
All right.
And, hey, shout out to Sydney. She's in London this week, so shout out Sydney. I'm jealous. Bring pictures and bring me a man with an English accent, preferably Idris Elba. Okay. Bye.
Bye.